You weren't born with a cigarette in your hand. You didn't come into this world craving nicotine. Somewhere along the line, through repetition, association, stress, and culture, a switch got flipped in your nervous system. A loop was formed, that loop became a ritual, and that ritual became part of your identity. But I'm here to tell you that none of it is permanent, it's plastic, and that's not metaphor, that's neuroscience. Your brain is plastic, meaning it can be reshaped, rewired, redesigned at any age, under any condition, with the right approach. That's the key to breaking addiction. That's the key to quitting smoking. When someone says, "I want to quit smoking," what they're really saying is, "I want to break a deeply rooted feedback loop between my thoughts, my emotions, my environment, my habits, and my chemistry." You're not just quitting a cigarette. You're unlearning a behavior that has been neurologically reinforced by thousands of repetitions. That's not easy, but it's possible. It's absolutely, powerfully possible when you understand the machinery of the mind. Most people fail to quit not because they're weak, but because they approach quitting the wrong way. They rely only on willpower, shame, or fear. But addiction doesn't respond to shame, it responds to strategy. It responds to action. It responds to rewiring the brain through consistent, targeted effort. The first thing we have to do is zoom in on what's actually happening when you smoke. When you inhale that cigarette, you're introducing nicotine, a powerful psychoactive substance, into your bloodstream. It reaches your brain in seconds. It binds to nicotinic acetylcholine receptors and triggers a release of dopamine in the mesolimbic reward pathway. That dopamine surge is interpreted as pleasure, relief, or satisfaction. It's the brain saying, "That felt good, do it again," and you do, again and again, until the brain becomes dependent on that loop, not for pleasure, but for balance. The baseline of your dopamine drops. You no longer smoke to feel high, you smoke to avoid feeling low. That's not choice anymore, that's survival chemistry, but that can change. Every time you resist a craving, every time you delay gratification, you weaken that loop. You create friction between stimulus and response. That friction is where freedom lives. That's the power of the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for decision making, for planning, for overriding the emotional urges of the limbic system. The more you activate it, the stronger it becomes. This is not theory. This is how the brain works, and what that means is this: you don't need to fight addiction with force, you need to fight it with neuroscience. You need to train your brain the way you'd train a muscle: small repetitions, consistent effort, strategic tools, long-term mindset. Let's be honest, cravings feel real, they feel urgent, they feel overwhelming. But here's the truth: a craving is not a command, it's a signal, a wave of dopamine fluctuation that peaks and then fades. Most cravings last less than 5 minutes. 5 minutes, that's the battlefield. That's the window where you can choose to respond differently, and every time you do, you build new neural pathways. You weaken the old ones, you reinforce the identity of someone who no longer smokes. That's neuroplasticity in action. That's not magic, that's science. But you can't just remove a habit, you have to replace it. The brain hates a void, it wants stimulation, it wants regulation. So when you quit smoking, you have to introduce new rituals, ones that release dopamine in healthier, more sustainable ways. That could be cold exposure, breathwork, movement, high-intensity exercise, creative work, deep conversations, helping others. These things aren't just good ideas. They're tools that stimulate the reward circuits of the brain without the cost of dependence. They give you back your mood, your motivation, your drive without hijacking your system. And let me tell you this, the first few days are the hardest. That's withdrawal. That's the nervous system recalibrating. It feels like chaos because your body is learning to function without artificial stimulation. But you need to hear this loud and clear: withdrawal is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of healing. It's your brain rebooting. Every moment of discomfort is your nervous system recalibrating toward balance. It's temporary, it's survivable, and it's worth it, because the other side of withdrawal is clarity, freedom, breath, energy, confidence. Your lungs begin to heal, your blood pressure improves, your taste buds come back online. Your energy stabilizes, your stress response balances out, and most importantly, your identity shifts. You stop seeing yourself as a smoker trying to quit. You start seeing yourself as a healthy, strong, autonomous human being who no longer poisons themselves to cope. That identity shift is crucial. People who quit successfully don't just change behavior, they change self-perception. They stop saying, "I'm trying to quit." They start saying, "I don't smoke." Your brain listens to the words you use. Your nervous system responds to self-talk. So stop reinforcing the idea that you're addicted. Start reinforcing the truth. You are in transition. You are upgrading. You are stepping into the version of yourself that takes full ownership of your biology. You want real power, then learn how to regulate your impulses. Learn how to delay gratification. Learn how to feel the craving, observe it, breathe through it, and let it pass without reacting. That's what mental toughness looks like. That's what discipline feels like, and it's not reserved for the elite or the gifted. It's built through practice, repetition, neuroscience-based training. I'm not here to tell you this will be easy. I'm telling you it's worth it. I'm telling you that the discomfort you feel during this process is the price of liberation. And I'm telling you that your brain is fully capable of changing, adapting, evolving if you give it the right signals. You are not broken, you are not weak, you are not destined to be a smoker forever. You are a biological machine governed by rules that you can learn and use to your advantage. This is not about quitting. This is about upgrading. This is about taking back control of the most valuable real estate you own, your nervous system. This is about saying enough. I am not outsourcing my mood to a chemical. I am not renting my identity to a habit that kills me. I am not playing small when I was born to be strong. You want to quit smoking. Good, then start now, not tomorrow, not when it's convenient, not after one more pack. Now, because the longer you wait, the deeper the wiring becomes, but the sooner you start, the faster the healing begins. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be consistent. You need to be willing. And above all, you need to believe that your brain is not your enemy. It's your ally. Train it, shape it, lead it, and it will follow. This cigarette is a ritual. It's not just the nicotine. It's the moment. It's the hand-to-mouth gesture, the inhale, the exhale, the pause. That space where you think you're in control when really, you've handed your control to a loop that was designed to keep you dependent. The brain loves patterns, and the pattern of smoking is strong because it combines physical action, emotional response, and chemical reinforcement. But here's the truth you need to absorb deep into your core. Just as you built this pattern, you can break it. Not by force alone, but by understanding and replacing it with new, meaningful rituals that stimulate the brain's reward systems in healthy, life-enhancing ways. You might think, but I've been smoking for years. And I'll say this clearly, the amount of time you've smoked means nothing to neuroplasticity. The brain doesn't care if it's been 5 years or 50. It cares about repetition, frequency, intensity, and most importantly, consistency. That means the moment you begin engaging in non-smoking behaviors, the moment you interrupt the pattern, your brain begins to shift. It rewires. It may take time, yes. But it's already happening. The moment you consciously decide, this is not who I am anymore, something shifts in your nervous system. New connections begin to compete with the old ones. And every time you reinforce that new identity, every time you walk past the craving instead of obeying it, you grow those connections stronger. And when it feels like you can't, when the urge is deafening and your body screams for just one more, that is the most important moment. That is the peak of the wave. That's the place where champions are made. You ride it, you breathe, you shake your arms out, you do a cold face plunge, you call a friend, you pace the room, you scream into a pillow. You do whatever you have to do to ride that wave, because it will pass. It always does. The craving has a curve. It rises, it peaks, and it crashes. What happens next is your choice, and choice is the muscle we're training. Let's talk about stress, because many people smoke to manage anxiety. They think the cigarette calms them down, and to be fair, there's a temporary soothing sensation, but it's a lie. It's an illusion built on a neurological tax. Nicotine stimulates the release of adrenaline. It activates the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight system. It makes you feel alert, but also tense. Then it crashes. You feel edgy, so you light another. But what you're doing is creating artificial stress and temporary relief, a loop, a cycle. The cigarette didn't relieve the anxiety, it caused it, and this is where breathwork becomes your superpower. Deep, physiological sighs, inhale through the nose, long exhale through the mouth. 2 or 3 of these in a moment of craving and your vagus nerve activates. Your parasympathetic system, the rest and digest mode, kicks in. You find calm without the cigarette, without the chemical, without the cost. Now I want to talk about identity. The most powerful transformations come not from changing habits, but from changing self-concept. If you see yourself as a smoker who's trying to quit, you will always struggle. Why? Because your actions will default to match your identity. But when you declare, "I am not a smoker," even if you've smoked yesterday, your brain starts to look for ways to align with that identity. You start acting like someone who doesn't smoke. That may sound like semantics, but it's not. It's neural encoding. Your beliefs shape your behaviors, and your behaviors reinforce your beliefs. So stand up right now, say it out loud. "I am not a smoker. I'm done. I choose life." And say it again tomorrow, and the next day, until your actions match your declaration, until your identity drives you instead of dragging you. Cravings don't need to be feared, they need to be studied. Each craving has a time, a trigger, a context. Start writing them down, make a cravings journal, time of day, what you were doing, what you were feeling. This builds awareness, and awareness is power. Once you see the patterns, you can anticipate them, and once you can anticipate them, you can intervene. That's behavioral science. You're not just fighting a craving, you're analyzing it, outsmarting it. Redirecting it, you become the scientist of your own brain. Let's talk about dopamine. This molecule gets a bad rap. It's not evil. It's not just about pleasure. It's about motivation, drive, anticipation. When you quit smoking, your baseline dopamine dips. You feel flat, unmotivated, but this isn't permanent. This is your brain resetting. During this phase, it's critical to introduce activities that boost dopamine naturally. Exercise, cold exposure, sunlight, learning something new, listening to music that moves you, finishing tasks, helping others. These are dopamine triggers too, but ones that build resilience instead of addiction. You are teaching your brain that it can feel good without nicotine, and that is a profound shift. Your environment matters, change the cues. If your morning coffee is tied to smoking, switch to tea. If your drive to work is a smoking trigger, take a new route. If certain people always mean cigarettes, limit those interactions or create new boundaries. Environmental cues are powerful triggers because they're part of the loop. Break the loop, rearrange your routines. Clean your space, remove ashtrays, wash your clothes, make your surroundings reflect your new self. You're not just quitting a habit, you're building a new life. And yes, use tools. Use nicotine replacement if it helps. Use lozenges, patches, gum. These aren't crutches, they're training wheels. They help you taper the chemical dependence while you retrain the behavioral loop. But do it with a plan, set a timeline, know why you're using them. Understand that they're a phase, not a destination. You're not trading one addiction for another. You're using science to make the shift safer and more sustainable. There will be relapses. There may be moments when you slip. Don't let shame pull you back into the hole. Shame is a liar. It says you failed, so you might as well quit trying. But the truth is, every attempt strengthens your awareness. Every relapse reveals something you didn't see before. Study it, learn, get up, go again. Success is not the absence of failure, it's the refusal to stay down. If you fall 9 times and get up 10, you win. That's neuroplasticity, that's resilience. Here's the most beautiful part. The further you get from your last cigarette, the less power the addiction has. Your brain begins to rebuild. Your reward circuitry normalizes. Your sense of smell returns. Your breath becomes deeper. Your energy stabilizes. Your confidence rises. You stop surviving and start thriving. You become the version of you that was always there, buried beneath the smoke. This journey isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you are, before the nicotine, before the craving, before the story that said you needed a cigarette to be whole. You are already whole, your body is intelligent, your brain is adaptable. Your spirit is unbreakable. You don't need to fight yourself, you need to return to yourself, and that self doesn't need smoke to feel alive. Let others doubt you, let your past whisper that it's too hard. Let the old cravings try to convince you that you can't change, then silence them with action, with clarity, with strength. Prove them wrong, prove yourself right, and do it every single day. There will be moments, maybe days or weeks, in when you forget what it was like to smoke. When the craving no longer haunts you, when your lungs expand and your breath feels infinite, hold on to that, celebrate it. That is victory, that is the reward, not just health but power, the power of knowing you beat it. That you looked addiction in the eye and said, "You don't own me anymore. You're not quitting, you're ascending, you're becoming, you're mastering the machine that is your brain, your body, your mind." Most people never do this. They coast, they surrender, but you are choosing transformation. You are rewriting the story. You are becoming someone others will one day look at and say, "If they could do it, so can I." And when they do, tell them what I'm telling you now, it's possible. It's science, it's real, and it starts with a choice, not a perfect choice, not a one-time choice, but a repeated choice, daily, hourly, moment by moment. That's how habits die. That's how identity forms. That's how transformation begins. The real shift happens when the desire to smoke fades, not because you're resisting it, but because you no longer identify with it. It doesn't feel like you anymore. It's not even a struggle. And that's the beautiful part. One day, you'll look back and realize you haven't thought about cigarettes in weeks. You'll pass someone smoking, smell it, and feel nothing. Not temptation, not nostalgia. Just distance. That's when you'll know you've rewired your brain, you've reclaimed your neurochemistry, you've broken the loop so completely, it can't hold you anymore, and you know what else changes? Your confidence, because once you've overcome something like this, something so deeply embedded, so chemically and behaviorally reinforced, you begin to realize what else you can conquer. If you can overcome nicotine, what else can you overcome? Anxiety, fear, procrastination, toxic relationships, limiting beliefs, yes, yes, and yes, because quitting smoking isn't just quitting smoking, it's proof, it's evidence that you can take command of your own mind, that you can defy the automatic, override the compulsive, and become a conscious driver of your life. You start showing up differently. People notice it in your posture, in your voice, in your energy. You begin to radiate clarity, integrity, strength, because you've earned it. You've walked through the fire and come out on the other side, not just smoke, free but forged. That's what real change does. It doesn't just remove the poison, it reveals the power that was hiding beneath it, and you don't need to do this alone. In fact, connection is one of the most potent tools you have. Talk to others who are quitting. Join a support group, start your own, share your wins, share your struggles, teach someone else what you've learned, because when you teach, you reinforce. When you support others, you deepen your own roots. Community isn't a weakness, it's a lever. Use it. Every single day, reinforce your new identity. Say it aloud, journal it, see it. Close your eyes and picture yourself 1 year from now, vibrant, strong, clean, clear. Breathe into that version of you, feel what they feel, think how they think. That's your target, and every craving you resist brings you one step closer to that future. Understand that this isn't about perfection. You may have moments where the old urge whispers. That's okay. The whisper is just data. It's a ghost of a former habit trying to survive, but it has no power unless you feed it. Don't judge the thought. Observe it, let it pass, then do what you've trained yourself to do. Respond with action, not impulse. Your body will change, your brain will change, your mindset will evolve, and as you go further, you'll start to realize how much smoking was stealing from you: energy, breath, vitality, peace. And you'll feel a deep, righteous anger that you ever let it in. Use that. Let it fuel your determination. Let it remind you why you're done. Not because someone told you to quit, but because you finally saw the truth. You're worth more than a habit that kills you. And this goes deeper than just smoking. This is about your nervous system, your ability to regulate emotion, your ability to take control of compulsive behaviors. Smoking was just one expression. But the same principles apply to anything: sugar addiction, alcohol, anxiety, driven scrolling, negative self-talk. All of it runs on the same loops, and the same rewiring tools will set you free from all of it. You're not just quitting smoking. You're becoming the kind of person who doesn't need crutches to walk through life. You're becoming the kind of person who feels stress and breathes instead of burns. Who faces conflict with calm instead of smoke, who doesn't numb but confronts, who doesn't run but resolves. There's a quiet dignity in reclaiming your body, a sacredness in breathing deeply, freely, with lungs that feel alive again. That's your birthright, that's what you're returning to, and once you taste it, truly taste it, you'll never go back, because no craving, no hit, no ritual will ever feel better than owning yourself fully. Remember this, the craving is temporary, but the pride you'll feel when you beat it, that's permanent. The benefits compound. One day without smoking becomes two, two become five, five become a month becomes a year, and that momentum becomes part of you. You stop counting days because you're no longer looking back. You're moving forward, fast and clear. You are now the architect of your behavior. The sculptor of your mind. You decide what gets reinforced. You decide which identity grows. That's neuroplasticity. That's what makes you powerful beyond belief. You're not trapped by the past. You're not defined by the habit. You are defined by the actions you choose now, today. If you fall, get up. If you crave, redirect. If you doubt, remember why you started. Make your mornings about movement, your evenings about reflection. Find stillness, find intensity, balance both. This is your practice now. You're becoming something new, and every cell in your body is cheering for you. Your lungs are healing, your blood is clearing. Your brain is recalibrating, your heart is stabilizing. You're not punishing yourself by quitting, you're liberating yourself. This isn't restriction, this is expansion. You're not losing anything, you're gaining everything. There is nothing weak about asking for help. There is nothing shameful about admitting it's hard. There is only strength in continuing to choose the higher path, the path of consciousness, of effort, of truth, and in choosing it again and again until the choice becomes natural, until the need to choose disappears because it's simply who you are now. And here's the most incredible part, the world will reflect your internal change. People will treat you differently. You'll attract new energy, new conversations, new opportunities. Why? Because when you stop destroying yourself, you start building everything around you. People feel that. They want to be near that. You become magnetic. You're not just quitting a bad habit. You're unlocking your potential. You're taking back your health, your time, your money, your peace of mind. You're proving to yourself that you can do hard things. And from that place, anything becomes possible. Any dream, any goal, any challenge. You're building a brain that works for you, not against you. Take a deep breath right now. Feel your chest rise. Feel the clean air fill you. This is yours now. Every breath is a victory. Every heartbeat is a win. This is what freedom feels like. Not just the absence of cigarettes, but the presence of full control. Your story from this day forward is one of triumph, of discipline, of rising above the lie that you needed poison to cope. You don't. You never did, and now you're done pretending. You are awake. You are powerful. You are clear. This is the start of a new era. One where your choices align with your values, where your actions align with your purpose, where your mind, your body, your breath all serve you, not enslave you. You did this. You chose it. You made the decision. And now you will live the result day by day, breath by breath, victory by victory, until the idea of smoking is so far behind you, it feels like another life. This is who you are now, not a smoker, not an addict. Not a struggler. You are a finisher, a builder, a warrior. You rewired your brain. You beat the craving. You turned weakness into strength and pain into purpose. So own it, celebrate it, and never look back. Because you're free now. And freedom real, earned freedom is the greatest high there is.